I think in an ideal world, the IB system would be phenomenal for us all to do. But unfortunately, the system has humans in it, and we all have cognitive bias. We all prefer certain ways, and we're not all adept at seeing the world from other people's points of view. And as a consequence, I'm sure someone, I think it was Karl Marx, said, communism is the ideal state were it not for humans.
Yeah.
We are the problem.
So now we've got the perfect teacher. We have an assessment of a couple of the more popular education systems. Beyond this, are there any systems that you are aware of that are completely different from the ones that you've mentioned?
Yeah, there's some phenomenal systems out
really?
there. Yeah. So there are people in Karachi will be familiar with the Montessori primary system, which is more about children developing at their pace and then being responsible for their choices. So rather than saying, today we're going to play with sand, it's what would you like to play with today? So the teacher is more fixed on facilitating.
How does that evolve if I was to do it with an 18-year-old? Because that 18-year-old is never going to want to study anyways.
It's very difficult. So we're in a world that wants people in pigeonholes. And a person that's much freer in thinking and much more autonomous is a problem. I've worked in the UK at prep schools, and the prep school specialised in taking children from different educational backgrounds and getting them ready for the educational background that's going to greet them that most of the world follows, that degree at a university. Because it's wonderful to say, I don't really agree with this. I want to do this today. But we've got to have some way of measuring you. Right. Because the universities need a measurement. The employer needs a measurement. Right. And
they need to be able to compare you to the millions of others that are applying for the same thing.
Back in the 70s, there was a huge push for Steiner education, Steiner Waldorf, which was very different education. It's very much where the children are much more autonomous, much freer. The trouble is, where's your assessment points? Where's the rigor? And it is so different to the English system that even recently when the UK government announced free schools. So the idea of free schools was that a community group could come together and form a school that meets their needs. That school might be a sports academy. Say someone like me comes in with a group of parents and says, we want to educate the kids, but we want to give them all the benefits of a healthy lifestyle and give them what sport can. So sports academies would open. Some parents would say, actually, we like the military and the structure that provides and the self-discipline. So we want our school to be a more structured military. So there was all these free schools open up with very different
objectives
and characteristics. Some religious schools, some of them opened up as Waldorf schools, and Ofsted went in to inspect them. Now, Ofsted used to be a check-in list. Do you do this? It's about measuring kids and measuring. And that's not what the Waldorf system is about. The Waldorf system is about nurturing and cultivating.
But what kind of child or human is that system producing versus the one the IB produces versus the one Cambridge or versus the one American produces?
Yeah.
Like if I was to describe the human, what is the difference between, and assuming all four of the systems are the perfect systems, delivered, let's say, somewhere at one of the best schools, what's the difference in the human characteristics?
So you would see perhaps people from the Waldorf Steiner system being much more independent, much more creative. That creative art is developed in the child and developed in the teenager. Whereas in a more traditional system like Cambridge, that creativity's not crushed, that's unfair, but it's certainly subdued because you've got a syllabus to get through. Learn this. But what about if, no time for that. You've got to get through your O-levels and then you've got to get through your A-levels.
So one will produce inventors and one will produce CEOs.
Yeah, so as a bad example, perhaps a Steiner system would produce the next the next Dyson vacuum cleaner.
Right,
It'd be the next Dyson.
Got it.
Thinking different, they can be creative. Whereas perhaps the Cambridge system will produce someone who's going to be a tenured professor and maybe advance some aspect of pharmacology.
Right.
And the IB perhaps is going to be this amazing leader, maybe a political leader, maybe a leader of commerce that understands how to get teams together. They can communicate well. They've got empathy. They can solve problems. And for me, that's the whole point of life. It's the diversity.
And the American system is similar to the
UK. I'm bunching that in with the UK.
With the UK system, okay.
It's similar enough. It's slightly more flexible, more holistic.